Ryan Carruthers here with your Future Stars forecast on this 2-year-old Tuesday. Before we get to my very special guest, real quick recap. I mean, we just wrapped up Royal Ascot, and it was pretty exciting. We saw Aidan O'Brien take leading trainer title for the 13th time. Ryan Moore, the leading jockey for the 11th. Coolmore, the 5th time as leading owner. Really exciting. One of the standout moments, of course, being Auguste Rodin winning the Prince of Wales' Stakes. That is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Turf, which he won last year. Is he going to defend his title in 2024? Maybe he tries the Classic on dirt. We'll see what happens there. But of course, I also have to give a huge shout out to last week's guest. That is Jose D'Angelo. As you'll recall, he came on. He had one berth into Royal Ascot, having participated and winning the Royal Palm Juvenile at Gulfstream Park with Gabaldon. And this is a really cool new partnership. This is just the second year that First Racing has done this with Royal Ascot. Last year, I mean, talk about success straight away from the gate. We saw Crimson Advocate win the Royal Palm Juvenile Fillies, and then she won the Queen Mary Stakes. Well, Gabaldon, he didn't win the Windsor Castle, but he put in such a game runner-up performance that felt like a victory. It was a tremendous, first outing there at Royal Ascot for the D'Angelo team. I actually have something I can show you here just for a quick little update on Gabaldon. He is back in the United States, and he is at Paragon Farm and resting up. There he is. You can see that at their X account at Farm Paragon. Gabaldon has arrived in good form after a long trip from Royal Ascot, a little refreshing, and then back to training. And then I can just go ahead and make those photos bigger for you. There he is, Gabaldon. And again, really, really game runner-up performance there, showing speed. Also I will say that this year's Queen Mary winner, talking about, again, the fact that Crimson Advocate had been a participant in that first win and you're in opportunity to get to Royal Ascot through this First and Royal Ascot partnership. This year's edition of the Queen Mary was won by Leovani, and Leovani's trainer, Carl Burke. He actually trains the Norfolk winner, and that is Shareholder. Shareholder, winning the Norfolk, has punched a ticket to our Win and You're In program for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And Carl Burke is actually going to be my guest next week. But this week's guest, let's get right to it. Very happy to bring on Danny Gargan. He's going to help me out. I'm actually under the weather, and I told him in the warm-up to the show, I said, I'm not 12 clipping it. I'm 14 clipping it along here. So I'm going to be leaning on you heavily. But thank you, Danny, for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we got to take it back because, you probably weren't watching the season debut of the Future Stars forecast. You probably had better things to do. But I did include in the lead into the episode a clip of your filly Complexion winning first out there. And she is, I actually have the replay here, but she is just a beautiful daughter and a first crop representative of Complexity. And
yeah, I couldn't say more about how good that sire's doing. Brett Jones, proud of everything he does. And I was lucky enough to breed to him this year. We had this filly down in Ocala, and we were watching her. Megan Jones bought her, and just really, really talented filly, and was doing everything the right way. And me and Megan both decided to breed to him after watching this filly train. We thought, we had a couple of them, and thought they might be okay. And boy, it's really looked good, and I couldn't be happier for Brett. A little shout out to Brett Jones and Airdrie Farm. They do a great job, and they're great people.
Yeah, I mean, one of the really cool things about this filly, and I'm going to pop up the replay here in just a second, is that she's a half sister to a multiple grade one winner whose wins also actually do include the Champagne, just like Complexity won the Champagne, right? And that is Jack Christopher. And the look at this filly is so similar. I'm going to show Jack Christopher real quick. He stands at Coolmore Stud, and I just want people to see what he looks like. So when they watch your filly Complexion, they can really appreciate the similarities. But there he is. That is Jack Christopher. and just a really good looking hunk of horse, right?
Yeah, he was a beast of a racehorse. Uh, I mean, you couldn't say enough. That's why we really like this filly because her face and her shoulder is identical to his. The markings are pretty much the same, except for the front legs are flip flopped. And she's a beautiful mover, and we were lucky enough we could get her bought. Megan bought her, I think, at Kingland September for 400,000 for her partnership, and I'm just blessed. I was one of her trainers, and I ended up getting this one. So, and we're really extremely high on her. She's done everything the right way and does everything easy. Johnny really likes her, and that's a big bonus because that was my first win ever with Johnny. And I'd only rode him a couple times because he always had Todd in the past before he went to California, and he was really confident in her. I mean, it's kind of nice when you walk in the paddock, but Johnny, when we walked in the paddock, I said, I don't win first time out. He said, well, you are today. And so there's a little quit. I was like, oh, easy, Johnny, now. But he said, no, you're going to win today, Danny. Relax. But she's just a smart, intelligent filly and just fun to be around. When you get a horse that's just does everything every day, pretty much started working with older horses earlier because the young ones were having a hard time keeping up with her, and it's worked out for her. And we'll see how good things go opening week at Saratoga.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's watch the replay of her debut. And, everybody, just take in mind, you aren't going to be able to miss her with this big, beautiful white blaze. But were you at all concerned when she had drawn the far outside post?
No, she's fast. And, did you ever watch the head on to see how bad she stumbled?
No, I have not seen
Oh,
that.
you got to watch the head on. She stumbles really bad and still clears easy.
Oh my
Actually,
goodness.
Todd Pletcher told me this morning because I hadn't seen him in a couple days because I train on the main track. He said, he was saying, congrats for the Belmont, but then he said, Danny, that was really impressive to stumble like that and still clear so easy like she did. He said, she's fast, huh? And I was like, we knew she was fast, but geez, that was really impressive with the stumble because, yeah, you have to watch the head on. That makes the race even more impressive.
Well, here we go with the replay. I do have queued up, and going to go ahead and share the screen. I'll take it down, and you can take us through the race. Let's see here. They're
I didn't
loading
know
up.
she stumbled watching it live because she's in front.
Do you have? Oh yeah. Do you have a specific place where you do watch your races?
This is at Aqueduct. I watch them on the first floor on the big screen TV.
Well, there we go. Actually, you do have that. Yes.
Yeah, she stumbled right there.
Should we take that back? Let's take that back and watch that one more time. That was pretty dramatic.
Yeah, and still clear away so easy.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, now I realize that I might have made a slight mistake by going back because this is the actual Naira day at the races. Oh, now it's going to play. Now it's going to play an advertisement. This is one of the things about doing a live stream, right? And
no, it's okay. We'll find it here in a second.
We're not linked with Indeed or any of this stuff, guys. I don't know what these commercials are for. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, well, this was the post parade. So, how are you feeling during post parade and talking to your owners after Johnny gave you such?
That's the first race I drove down to Aqueduct for this year.
Really? Well, there she was.
Yeah, because I stable out of Saratoga and I don't really go down there that much. And when we got down there, Joe Migliori said, "Oh, you're here today." I said, "Yeah." He says, "I understand." And then, when you have a horse like this, it's kind of exciting to make the drive.
Well, yeah.
So we don't run a lot down there, and we kind of focused wait get here. But things are working out really well at Belmont this year for us. We turned a lot of our grass horses out, so this year they're coming back and running well. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go for the second time, and loading in. Do you get the heart palpitations? Because I sure do when I see a horse loading it that I've got a connection with.
About a minute to post, I always say a prayer, and you just want them to come home safe and sound. That's all.
Oh gosh, that was pretty dramatic.
And if you watch, you'll see she doesn't really. Then she just, once she gets herself under, she's gone. Yeah. And then Johnny, he rode her really confident because I would have just kept on going, and he just settled, let everybody come to him, then reopened up. But she's done everything we've asked of her in the morning. So, like I said, we'll see how things go, and we got the Schuylerville opening day here at Saratoga. it'd be fun to win a stake race opening day at Saratoga. So let's hopefully she keeps the ball rolling, and it'd be a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, for sure. I mean, I just love how the other part of that stumble, going back to that, it didn't deter her mentally. I mean, it's one thing physically to still, get the momentum under you to clear whatnot. With babies, they get so in their own heads.
Yeah, she doesn't act like a baby.
No.
She's probably most. She's a smart filly. I mean, she can. She's very intelligent. Does everything just so kind and sweet, uh, just to please her. Every day
Oh,
she wants to make everybody happy. And Priscilla gallops her, the same girl that gallops Society Man and
nice.
Dornoch.
Yes.
And she's been with me a long time. She loves her, and we're excited about her.
Oh, you should be. And we have other 2-year-olds about whom we will be talking. But before we get to that, we have some comments. Hey, Katie, how are you doing? Oscar's throwing some horses up. Hi, Oscar. Now, Katie does ask this, but we're going to save this to the end. She's asking how is Dornoch. We're gonna get to Dornoch. We're gonna save him for the end. He's gonna be like the bow on the top of the whole gift. Yes. Hey ho, very impressed with complexion. How can you not be?
Yeah, she's yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We have a couple other young horses that I think will be good in later. We don't really gear up for the early ones. This one just naturally took us there, and we were just lucky enough. She basically trained herself up to the race. We never worked her over a half mile, but we just went ahead and ran her because she just I didn't think we needed to do any more with her.
Well, I have
So
to assume offers have come in regarding her because she was
oh
already,
yeah.
I mean, already with that pedigree, but now being a first out winner and that emphatic.
Well, she was a lot of money to buy too. So yeah.
I'm sure, yeah. Well,
Yeah, she's not for sale. The
no, no,
ownership
no.
it has her, they breed.
Yes.
So they bought her to race and breed. So it'll be uh, it'll be fun to see how her babies come out. That's what they start. And I think it's let me think, Carl and Urier, they own half of her, and Megan manages them, and Armour's Megan. Uh, I think, yeah, this is the first 2-year-old I've run for them. So I just realized that. So that's exciting. And they have part of Society Man, who won the greatest stake for them, and they own part of Animal Kingdom, had horses with Graham for a long time. And this is my first 2-year-old for them. And it's kind of fun for them, and they're excited. But yeah, there's been some offers, but she's one that they're going to hang on to, and down the future, her babies, she's a well-bred filly. If she turns out as good as we think she is, it'll be a lot of fun watching them come through the pipeline.
Undoubtedly. And when Johnny got to the winner's circle, did he give you a what I tell you?
Oh, he laughed at me. He was like I said, it was probably the most confident I've ever had a jockey walk in the out there before a race. He was pretty confident, and I like I said, I'm like 4% first time out because it's I don't. She'd only worked 4.5 miles, nothing special. Didn't really breeze her too fast, but he had full confidence. So it's she's basically trained herself into the race and got herself in a winner's circle.
I love it. It's nice to have a happy surprise, and but also you were prepared because as you were telling me, you weren't necessarily somebody who you've got to win first out. In fact, you told me on the phone when we had our pre-discussion that that's not even what you're training up to do for that first race. So the fact that it just came so easily to her, it's very exciting to see now what she does with the experience under the girth, both physically and mentally, as you now point towards Saratoga. Now, before we talk about any of the other 2-year-olds, I would love to. I mean, everybody knows Danny Gargan, but for those who don't, those who are kind of new to racing, can you tell us your story?
Well, I'm a racetrack kid. I grew up on the track. Father was a jockey. He passed away when I was a kid. And I've had every job. I walked hots, groomed horses. I've done everything. I was a jock's agent for several years.
Brian
And
Hernandez was one of your clients, right?
yeah, he's a classic winner. He won the
Yeah.
Derby. I've
Yes.
won the Belmont. Jesus Castanon, he won the Preakness. I had Pat Valenzuela for several winners down in. And yeah, we were just lucky enough that I did quite well with that. Joe Giudice was one of my favorite jocks I ever worked for. I forgot about Joe. He was one of my first riders. He rode for Holtis, and then I had Marlon St. Julian. when he was riding there for Steve Asmussen, which I still get along really good with the Asmussens. I love watching his sons ride. It's just fun to watch them. They're good boys, and I like the whole Asmussen. It's just a good operation over there with Scott and everybody. It's uh, prayers out for them. They lost Toby Sheets in an accident, and
Yeah.
that was a little hard on everybody. And yeah, just my whole life on the backside, several different jobs. Never really thought that I'd be a horse trainer. It wasn't my goal. So me and started buying a few babies, weanlings and yearlings, and was flipping them, and got stuck with a couple. And it was me and Merrill Share, who we were buddies, always hanging out, and ended up going to Saratoga with a couple horses. Me and him, I owned all of one. First time started one at Saratoga that I sold, and then the next year did it again and sold a horse. And then the third year we went up there, I ended up staying. And then I went to Belmont and ran in his name for a while. And about 6 months later, I decided, PJ Campo talked me into getting my trainer's license. And this at the end of this year will be my 12th year training. So
Wow.
yeah, I started with 3 horses that I own myself.
That's really incredible. And you've had a lot of success also claiming horses and moving them up. Tax comes to mind.
Yeah, Tax. Yeah, he's obviously one of my special horses. Divine Miss
Yeah.
Gray, Venezuelan Hug. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't even know how many horses I claimed that won stakes. Those three were probably the best three. I think Venezuelan Hug was probably the most talented, and he got hurt. I really thought, he won 3 stakes in a row. I thought he was going to be a big time player, and we got unfortunate. He hurt a hind suspensory, upper suspensory. It's a very rare thing to happen, but he's a stallion now in New York, and Tax is a show horse in Georgia,
Oh,
and
what discipline? What is he doing? Is he jumping? Is he doing
he's
dressage? Is he
learning to
doing?
jump.
All right.
Yeah, and so that's kind of fun because obviously he was a big part of getting me where I'm at today.
Yeah.
And when I owned a piece of him, and it's a funny story is at one stage I owned a part of every horse I've run in the Derby. Yeah, I owned part of Dornoch. I owned when we bought him at Kingland. I had a big part of him until Mage ran second in the Florida Derby, and I sold my last piece. And Society Man I owned until after he ran second in the Wood.
Wow.
Yeah, so in Tax, I actually owned a piece of him all the way his whole career.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yeah, it's been a fun ride, and you never know, but it's it wasn't something that it takes a lot of money to start training,
Yeah, of
and
course.
yeah, not I didn't have I worked as an assistant for Zito and a few other guys, and I worked for just it wasn't something I thought I'd ever be able to afford, and so every day we get to do this and have the kind of horses I have now, you look back and you're like, you kind of hard to figure out how it happened, but it did. Midwest Thoroughbred gave me a big shot when they gave me a lot of horses. They were tough to train for, Rich, but because he demanded you win, and but that's how you learn how to handle the pressure. You take that pressure for a long time, and we won a lot of races together and had a lot of success. And he lost. He didn't. He gets ill with his equilibrium and cut back in horse racing. And I was blessed enough that Randy and Dean Reeves thought enough of me to try to get me to focus on 2-year-olds, and they were the first guys to say we wanted you to do this, and that's how we ended up in the game of having babies, and probably how we ended up in the Derby and winning the Belmont because I could still be claiming horses. If it wasn't for those guys with Tax, the year after Tax, they wanted me to focus on 2-year-olds, and I haven't claimed a horse in over a year, which
Oh.
I think I should claim something just for fun, but
Well,
but it's
well,
worked out well with the young horses for now.
well, having grown up in it, what do you see? You're talking, for example, you just mentioned the pressure to win. And a lot of people have talked about how the way in which horses are run, the frequency has changed over the years. A lot of people think, much of that has to do with wanting to maintain percentages, not have your statistics go down in that racing form. But what have you noticed primarily is different now than when you were growing up as a kid on the backside?
Well, there were no percentages back then, and
Right.
and I hate to say it, when they put the percentage next, they should put it next to the owners, because that'd probably change a lot of percentages too. Uh, yeah, yeah, because I mean it's tough to win 20%,
Yeah, it is.
And especially if it's a lot. I was over 20% my whole career when I had claiming horses because you can be aggressive. But when you're dealing with young horses and you're developing them, if you can play at 18, 15, anywhere from 15 to 18%, you're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, unless you have big numbers and you can, but I only get like four, I think I have 15 2-year olds this year, 14. It's, last year I had 17 or 16. It's not like we're playing with a big number of horses. I only train 40 horses. um, I think I'm 20% this year, which, that's hard to, it could end somewhere around anywhere 18, from 15 to 20. And, but, as a career, I'm over 20%. But in the claiming game, you'd finish a year at 26 sometimes. But when you're training young horses and doing the right thing, I don't expect anybody to be 20% because if you're doing the right thing, you're trying to get horses raced, to where they are by developing them through the races, not trying to force wins down their throat every time.
Hmm.
So and I don't work horses, 5/8 and 59 and try to make them super fit for their first race. It's not, I can't afford to do that because I can't hurt the ones I have because they all have to try to make the races and continue through their careers. And I think that's why the guys that are with me stay with me is because they know that, we're going to get to the races and it might take a race or two to really get their full potential, but it's okay because they keep racing. And you can't make money not racing. You have to make money racing. DORNOCH got beat first couple starts
Hmm.
and he got better. But that's how racing goes for us. You know, the this filly won first time out. I think the last horse I had that won first time out was Champion's Dream, and he come back and won. He was fifth in the Champagne and won the Nashua. And before that, it might have been. It's a long ways back. But I think the last couple that won first time out ended up being won stakes. But it's hard. Some of the horses that do it are pretty talented, and we're like I said, we just have to try to get them going more than I need to win first time out. That's a great thing, but I'm pretty content with second or third time.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's another part of that equation. It really, that percentage being the win percentage. I find it more beneficial even to my handicapping when I'm looking at more as just in the money. A barn that's just live. They don't necessarily have to be winning, but the horses are performing, and you're just paying attention to that. And as you said, it is so hard to win a race, win consistently. It's hard enough to get a horse into the gate to even run. I think about, I think if people outside of the actual ownership of it understood just how hard it is to get
Oh,
a horse to the races, period.
I'd like to teach the guys to do the handicapping shows. I mean, they're the worst because they think, but they're very
Well, no,
critical,
go ahead.
especially in New York.
What do you wish? What do you wish most people understood? What is your biggest
I
pet
wish
peeve?
I kind of wish most of them could walk a horse personally before they criticize. There's a lot of good trainers out here. I'm
Yeah.
blessed and got lucky. There's guys that are, I mean, unbelievable horsemen that'll never even run in a Triple Crown race, much less win one. I can name tons of them that are phenomenal horse trainers that have not done it, or even had Derby starters or Belmont starters. I mean, there's guys that are, Greg Foley in Kentucky is
Oh,
probably
I
one of the
love
best.
her. Yeah.
Greg's one of the best horsemen in the country, and his sons are following his footsteps. But he's not had a Triple Crown horse or that caliber of a horse. But there's a guy that's been training for years and is, believe me, I would say probably one of the best horsemen in the state of Kentucky. But this game's tough, and
Yeah.
it takes luck. And I traveled and found my way that way, and it's there's I mean you could just the list can go on for a long time of guys that just work hard and get up every day and win and it's just never it's tough. Merrill Share, the person I were, he was a great horseman and he never had that caliber of horse. He trained 40 something years, 50 years and you never know. You this game it's humbling for the people and when you get lucky and get in the situation and get lucky and be able to have horses like this. Your father's trained. It's uh, it's 7 days a week, and your help has to be there. You have to have good help, good riders, good grooms, good owners, and it's easier for someone to sit on a TV show and give some 2 seconds of their opinion when they've never done anything but watch. But that's what this game's become. Social media has a lot of control in it, but yeah, the well being of the horse is more important than winning first time out. You know, for me, like I said, I
Mhm.
worked for Nick, and he didn't never win first time out, and And I'd hate to say it, I'm good with it too. But back then, the percentage wasn't in the form. But like I said,
Right.
I'm lucky that I'm a high, a decent percentage trainer, so I don't get ripped on for being a bad percentage trainer. Like some of these, there's young guys out there trying to do the right thing, and they lay on them a little bit. You read things, watch things, and everybody's focused on a percentage at this or a percentage at that, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really phase me much because in the long run, at the end of the day, as long as your horses develop and turn into stake horses, I think that's what we should really focus on. And
Yeah. Well, you mentioned working with Nick. Did you work? You must have been young. Were you around him at all?
Strike the Gold. No, not with Strike the Gold. Louis Couture's,
Lloyd Couture's?
Stars, yeah, Star Standard, Storm Song. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I worked
Oh.
with all those. Yeah, I was
What were
too
some of your
young.
biggest takeaways working with Nick?
I just talked to him 2 days ago. We get along really well. We always have. We'd have arguments and yell at each other, but that's part of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you're out there grinding away and with a lot of horses. But I told him he had a horse run the other day, run good, and you know, Rapoli gave him a horse that ran third, I think, first time out, and I was happy to see that. And Nick's battling away. I'd love to see him on TV. That'd be fun to watch because people would like to listen to him. He's a great talker. And hopefully one day he gets an opportunity to do some, maybe Churchill or somebody hires him to do, Naira maybe could have Nick on or something because, he's a legend in the game. And it'd be fun to see him on TV for a while.
Yeah, of course. Gotta love the personality for sure. Um, Getting back to the 2-year-old scene going on there in the Gargan barn, let's talk about your relationship now with My Racehorse. You have a 2-year-old owned by the group, and
Mm-hmm.
he's yet to debut. I'm going to show his picture here if I just make sure I grab the right page. And his name, perhaps fittingly, is Saratoga Warrior. There we are.
Yeah, that's him.
Beautiful gray. So
Mm-hmm.
tell us about this
Volatile
one.
Colt. Uh,
Yes.
Jimmy Gladwell bought him for Dean Reeves, and they decided to do a partnership, and I train a lot for Dean. And this is one of them that was allotted to me, and they took half of him. I think there's 4 or 5 in the partnership. Christoph has 2. I think maybe Todd has 2, and I have 1. And he worked actually this morning out of the gate in 48 and change. Did it nice, broke good. It's kind of fun. I get along really good with Sarge, Nick Hines, and Joe.
Hoorah.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yes.
I'll tell you, he's a positive person. You need that in horse racing.
Mm.
He's always on the positive, and anybody like that, I love because
Yes.
you said this game's tough enough. We need everybody on TV to be positive, and that's the greatest thing about Jason Worth is his positive attitude towards everything. But I like this horse. I think he'll be could debut. We'll see how it goes. He's got a chance of running in the first book at Saratoga. He's coming around quicker than we thought, and I liked his work today. And we'll come back next week and get a little stronger work in him. And he's doing well, and I'm
That's
pleased with him.
exciting.
Yeah, he's a New York bred, so that's fun. Hence Saratoga Warrior, and yeah, it's Dean and Patty, like I said, they've been with me a long time and big supporters. And Dean's kind of like a father figure. I can get a little
Oh.
feisty and he'll settle me down. But no, I was real pleased with his work today.
Well, that is very nice to hear. You also worked another 2-year-old that we should be keeping our eye on, and I am talking about a filly. This is her yearling sales photo, but it's all I have. And her name, Snow White.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the big good. Yeah, she's a big good magic filly. I don't have a good magic colt this year. Shocking, but I don't. Even though ran 2 in the Derby, but really talented filly. She's one of my favorite horses. I really like her. Hopefully everything keeps going positive. I think she's going to be a lot of fun. And I think later on she's going to run long. Uh, she's going to be a really talented horse. She's
Oh,
probably one
that's
of my
exciting.
yeah. And she's Megan Jones and bought her for me at Kingland. Don Alberto, Vito, which is Balmore Racing, and Pine Racing. Uh, they they own her, and it's my first horse for Don Alberto, so I'm excited about that. And she's really today. I was really pleased with her. If I had to grade all the 2-year-olds, I'd say she had the best work of all of them today. And she's going to be a lot of fun. I really have high hopes for her.
So that's a question for those who are new to racing or maybe don't understand it from that backside perspective. When you say that you're excited about her, what has she shown you that it gives you that feeling?
I mean, she worked 48 and 2 today, and she was doing it just, in a gallop, kind of, in hand really well. And at the wire, there was 2 of them working together, and I told her, on the radio, I told her, the rider, Priscilla rides her. I told Priscilla, just go ahead and let her, go to the next pole and see what, a little bit. And she went 12 and won the next pole. That's when they can go the half and then go out. That's when you start seeing who's going to could be the big leagues. And she stays together. She has that turn of foot that could be a big time horse.
It's gotta really inspire.
She looks like DORNOCH too.
Yeah, I see that. I thought the same thing when I pulled the picture up.
And she's big like him. She's a big filly. She's a little thicker than he is, and but she has the neck and the shoulder like him.
I love her neck. I mean, growing up on a breeding farm, you always talking about the conformation and whatnot, and how the neck, you want it to be like that anvil to strike.
Yeah.
And she's got a really intelligent look about her as well.
Yeah, she's a really smart filly. Kind of has a little bit of a white eye on the other side like DORNOCH does, but she's I think she's going to be a lot of fun. I love her name too. It's a great name.
And it's spelled, would you like to tell everybody how it is spelled?
It's Snowwyte.
And she was already named when you bought her.
No.
No?
No, I don't know who named her. One of the owners named her.
Oh, okay. Because when I pulled up the sales summary, it already had her name up. So I thought that maybe
maybe because it's already in the system.
That's probably what it is. Yeah.
No, she wasn't named. I don't think she was. Maybe she was.
Well, it's a clever name anyway. Her mom.
Oh, it's a great name. Yeah. And because it goes along with the Good Magic theme, and Mother Snowfall. Snow White was a magical character from Disney, so it's a lot of fun. I'd say her in Complexity, and then I have a colt named Dragon Ear, and another.
Oh yes, I can pull him up too. I was just pulling up real quickly her catalog page. I can make it a little bit bigger for everybody. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, it had been Bay Philly, so yeah, she has been since named, and they were able to update.
I see why she looks like DORNOCH. She has that double dancing.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, see the dancing on both.
I do.
Yeah, so that's
talk about a horse who was fast, Danzig.
Yeah.
So, and as you see, everybody, this is what we call a consistent black type pedigree, generation to generation. You see black type.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
I think she's going to be a lot of fun, and then hopefully she keeps doing great things. And then the colt I like is Dragon Ear. Hopefully he runs here second book.
Let's see here. I have him. I believe he's the McKinsey, right?
Yes.
Okay, I have him here too. So this is a 2-year-old yet to be unveiled, and he was purchased at OBS March.
Megan Jones and Scott Everett bought him.
So Sire McKinsey, the Dam Altamura by Artie Schiller, and you can see. I think everybody can see. Can you see the pedigree page here, Danny?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see that family includes Private Creed. You've got Lunar Mist in there. Altamura, the dam herself, was a stakes winner. Volcat's in there. But here is video of him breezing. And I think I can make that bigger. There we go.
I worked him on the grass last week up here, and first time I breezed him on the grass, and it was pretty impressive to watch. He worked with a horse named W. Nell.
You're right. Yes, you're Remsen with it. Yeah. Well, before DORNOCH, you won back-to-back Remsens.
Yeah, and he looked real good doing it. I mean, he was impressive breezing. So hopefully things, we're open book 2 for him, and he's a really talented colt too. And his grass work the other day was, he just scalped on back. It was pretty impressive watching. And they gave him just go about an eighth of his last work, and he he took off. So he's fun. And then I guess the next one, I'd like a filly named Gellhorn.
Yes,
Uh,
I have her as
she's
well.
she's a freshman sire, a volatile.
I'm going to pull that up right now. Let's see here. And everybody, again, bear with me. I'm under the weather, so I'm a little brain dead. I'm leaning heavily, heavily on Danny to get me through this episode of the Future Stars forecast. So here she is by, as you said, volatile out of Exchange Cat. I'm going to make this bigger and hit play on it. There she is. You got some flashy fillies.
Yeah. Yeah, just really, two of them with that white.
The big white blaze.
Yeah. And
So what's
she'll probably be second book at Saratoga. I think she's going to be a grass horse, but she's doing everything really nice. We like her. And there's a few, I've got a Vacoma.
oh my gosh, what is going on with Vacoma? Like
I have
he's
two of
just
them.
striking it.
I have two of them, and Sky Rush is a colt but he's going to be later. He's
Okay.
going to be fall, but I really like him. I sent him down to Belmont the other day, so I wouldn't push on him. And I think he's a beautiful horse. And I didn't want to have him here because he gets you excited, and he's definitely going to be a two-turn horse and big, strong, powerful horse. He's fun.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so he'll be fun towards the fall, and then.
So should we get our future wagers in as soon as we
No, not yet. Let's see how he gets further. But he's going to be a fun horse. And I have a filly that Dean Reeves and Randy Hill has that is super fast. But we've decided to slow down on her a little bit too. But she's going to be a lot of fun. And I think they named her Celestial Speed. And
okay.
she's going to be a lot of fun in the future. I think she's as talented as the other two that I'm real high on. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get forward and get things going. And, like I said, it's fun to, this partnership with a few of these new owners. Like, I'm happy that Don Alberto gave me a horse, and obviously my racehorse and those guys, they're a lot of fun. And, just hoping everybody, walk around the sales. We can have a little more fun together and buy a few horses together and keep this thing going. And it's something that, every day you have to work at and try to make things develop and try to do your best to keep recruiting. I think Kenny McPeak shows you how hard he works at getting the young horses and working with people and getting everything done. I'm a big Kenny fan of Kenny McPeak's. We're friends,
Yeah.
and well, he put out a really nice tweet the other day, and I thanked him the other day for it. But yeah, so you have to work hard at those sales and try to figure out and have the right guys around. Like I said, I've used different people in the past, and the last couple of years, Scott Everett and Megan Jones have been helping me, and so hopefully we keep this ball rolling together.
Is there a certain type of horse that is the Gargan type? We see this a lot with certain barns. They have a type.
You know, everybody, I think all of the thing is you have to have people working with you. All of you have to have a different type. I like a bigger, taller horse with a lot of leg. I'm a more of if you let me go, I'm going to buy you a big two-turn dirt horse every time. Some of them are going to be, but the problem is some of them are going to be slow.
Yes.
Yeah. And,
Yes.
the good thing is Megan, who picks out a lot of them with us, she'll buy a sprinter. And she likes to buy fast pedigrees underneath. She does most of our pedigree stuff, and a lot of our, she'll buy the fast horse, which is what you need, is a two-turn dirt horse that has, some speed in it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's been helping us most of all lately. And, hopefully we keep everything going and just stay lucky is a lot of it too. There's a lot of people out there and everybody's good at what they do. And I think the big future for us in the next couple of years is working with a lot of different people to try to make everybody successful.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we get to talking about DORNOCH, which we're going to do, because a lot of people are asking about him, of course. Um, when you see the progression, this, relatively speaking, has not been that long of a journey for you.
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, this is only my 12th year training. I just I mean, I was basically just claiming horses until 4 years ago. So, to stop claiming and get into the buying babies and focusing on 2-year-olds to have a classic winner already, and have a couple Derby starters, and Breeders' Cup, and I've run a couple juvenile. I've had the favorite in the Breeders' Cup juvenile once, turf.
Mm.
For such a short span, I think we've done quite a bit. And I mean, there's 7 or 8. Dakota Gold's still there. I trained him at 2. He's made 800,000. We still have him. He's still in the barn winning races.
I have a
Uh,
soft spot for him. I have a soft spot for
yeah,
him. I'll tell you quickly why. He is from the same family as a horse that my family used to own, that we kind of rescued and meant a lot to us.
mhm.
And so I just felt very connected to him. He actually was highlighted on one of the shows I did in the year that he was running in the Breeders' Cup. As just that performance there at Monmouth had been so good. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, and so yeah, Dakota Gold. I love that you brought him up.
yeah. I train the whole family. I have Ramblin'
I
Wreck,
didn't. I
who's
did
a
not realize that.
Ramblin' Rex is half brother and a
Wow.
multiple stakes winner. And now I have their little older brother, who's Dakota Country. He was second the other day in a maiden special weight.
Hmm.
He's 3. He had a little later start. So yeah, but I've trained pretty much all the family. 2 of them are stake winners already. And then the maiden, he's I don't he's just getting started. He had a rough start in his career. It ran him loose horse impeded him the whole time, first time out. Then but he was second the other day, and we're excited. Hopefully he'll break his maiden next time at Saratoga.
No,
So
see, I love that. Do you find that the family all have kind of the same temperament?
they're all mean.
Oh no, he's
No,
mean.
no,
Huh?
I'd say Dakota Gold was. Oh, he was mean. He's one of those horses you put a cone in front of. He's a gelding now, so he's
Uh-huh.
not as bad. Uh, oh, he's a pushy thing. You'd have to train him.
Really?
Oh, first set every day, or he'd tear the barn apart. Uh,
Wow.
yeah,
Do you
but
have a
he's.
cone in front of the
Oh yeah, he bites you. He bites.
Wow.
And Ramblin' Wreck really wasn't mean the biter, but he was a ornery on the racetrack. He liked to rear up, so he was feisty. But he's a multiple stakes winner. We won a stake at Saratoga with him last year. Won a stake at Belmont last year. I brought him. Was turned out. Both these horses were turned out all winter. We because they're grass horses. We freshen them and bring them back. And they both had one start this year. Dakota Gold was third in a stake at Belmont. Then it rained off at Saratoga. He's going to run on July the 6th or 5th. I don't have it in front of me. Ramblin' Wreck had his first race back, and it was a really strong fourth. Kind of had a bad break, but he made a nice run of it, and I was excited to see him back in form. And I think he'll be super live next time we run him at Saratoga if he gets a little better start. And it's fun to train siblings. And, it's nice when owners breed horses and send you horses. And it's fun when siblings can all run.
Oh, yes, I would say
Yeah.
so, and especially if you then get some fillies
And
as being the siblings, because then you can sell them higher.
well, I'm a believer that mares have continued success. Some
Yeah,
people think mares only have one good horse, but I don't play that game.
yeah.
I'm a firm believer that good mares throw good horses, and good horses come from good families, and that's
Mhm.
something that I didn't in the beginning, the first year or so. I did the babies that I hadn't realized yet, but now it's more of a focus when we are buying. We try to look up all their families and all the siblings, make sure they can run because it's if they have runners, they'll keep. I think they continue to do. Obviously, Dornoch's a full to Mage.
Yeah,
Complexion's a half to Jack Christopher.
yeah.
I have a filly named Ringy Dingy that's a stakes winner. That's a full to funded. Uh, I probably have Dakota, all his brothers. Half my barn that are siblings to other horses are good horses also. So I think pedigrees make a big difference. Some people don't, but other people have
I
other ways of
definitely
doing
do.
things. Yeah,
I
and it's a
definitely do.
and just buying babies for 4 years, and I'd have to give Megan the biggest boost on that. She's she breeds and stuff, and she's the one that got us focusing on the pedigrees with our young horses, and that's the main reason we have Dornoch is you know because of the watching, going through it and checking sales results, looking back at the families that they had and stuff. So, you know, you just have to look back and knock on something. Thank everybody for being a part of it and helping you get there.
Well, it's an incredible story that a mare should have 2 classic winners back to back as Puka has. And I'm just curious, John Stewart, he posted a couple months ago, back in April, when she gave birth to the full sibling there at the farm. Has there
Oh,
been anybody trying to jump in, call dibs on the full sibling in terms of
I'm sure
2
everybody
years
has.
down the road?
We've all asked for him. I've definitely asked for him. I'm sure everybody has. John's a lovely person. He's doing great things. He's kind of exciting to watch what he's gotten into the game, and quick and having success, doing big things fast. And yeah, he's a very generous person. He's fun to be around, and hopefully I'm in consideration one day for that one. And he's got a great team with him, so hopefully I think he just hired Max Hodge and.
Wow.
Yeah, and a couple other people to help him do things.
Going
So
global too. I mean, that band he's
it's
putting together.
he's he's you know he's all in, and you got to respect him. He's going to race him, breed him, and do everything, which is super cool to me. I think I love
Yeah.
that part of it.
Well, it's old
And
school.
they
It's
sent me a picture the night after when he was born. I was lucky enough, Mr. Stewart and Gavin. They sent me Connor's. They sent me a picture of him as a baby, and he's big like
yeah.
DORNOCH. He's not a babe, but he's big, and that's he. I think he looks a lot like him, his features and stuff, because he's so big. DORNOCH's on 17 hands, so he's a big boy, and
Yeah.
so it's yeah. I mean, geez, he's got so many good horses. They're doing, you know, he's going to have a lot of good horses and a lot of, the good thing about I've noticed, and I like seeing what he's doing most of all, is he's given a lot of people chances to train for him. And I'm sure down
Yeah,
the road
I've
at some
seen
point
that,
I'll have
yes.
my opportunity. We've talked about it, and he's, I'm sure at some stage, because he's, I love to give Riley Mott one. He's given everybody I think will have a chance, and I think he likes that, and I think he wants to be to support the whole racing industry in a whole, which is something that horse racing needs. We don't need an owner to give every single horse to one trainer. If they have, he's going to have 100 horses in training. It looks like at some stage, and that's how you but it's fun that he's going to be spreading them out and having lots of different trainers, and give everybody a chance to be successful in this game.
Yeah, and it's also nice to see the different methodologies between the different barns.
Yeah, he's a very intelligent person. I think he's going to catch on to a lot of things
I've
really
never
fast.
met John. I've never met him.
Yeah, if you meet him, he's yeah, I mean, he is well spoken. I mean, well read, very intelligent man. And I think big things are to come from him. And it's going to be fun to watch how he develops his horses and breeds them, and keeps going in the game. So horse racing needs every one of these guys.
Mhm.
Horse racing needs them. The Claroviches, the Peter Brandts, John's the new guy. Because we're losing people, and the older every new big supporter like him is something you need. Like Rapoli supports a lot of guys, and Vinny Viola, those guys. Horse racing is desperate without them. And because it helps the claim. People don't understand the whole trickle down effect. Those guys buy horses, breed horses, and sometimes they end up being claiming horses for the claiming trainers. Because I used to have to be the guy that needed those guys to have better horses so I could claim the ones they didn't really want. So the trickle down effect just supports the whole game and the whole industry from track to track to track. It keeps all of
Mhm.
us employed. Without the owners, there's no game.
Yeah.
You know, People think the horses. No, the horses cost a lot of money, and you have to have the people that are going to pay us to make our living so that people can bet on them. But if you don't have people that can afford to pay us, there's no horse racing. And sometimes you worry about that because you do.
Mhm.
Since COVID, it hurt a lot of the smaller little 1 to 2 horse owner guys. Kind of got out then because they couldn't come watch their horses, couldn't go to races, and I lost probably 5 or 6 little 1 or 2 horse
Oof.
guys then. And it's fun to see people getting in now. For a while, it kind of went stagnant. So, especially, someone that, and he's not looking to say, I'm going to race every horse in Kentucky. He wants to race all over New York, Kentucky, like you said, all over global. And that's a great thing. And he wants to spread it with a lot of different trainers. And that's a great thing, too. So, it's going to be fun to watch him develop what he's doing. And I wish him nothing but the success, and I hope that everything works out for him.
One of my favorite things about what would you call him? A super owner? It's somebody who's got the financial backing that they can really make an impact globally, as he's doing, as Mike Rapoli's doing. I love that these guys have the buying power to sort of bring into our population of horses some foreign influences. We're seeing them now buying horses from Japan and bringing them here. And instead of our horses going away, we're getting some coming here from different parts of the globe. I think that's so great to see that. I don't know about you, but I've even finding going through the catalog books these days, you'll find a lot more mares who are not bred here domestically, but they were imported from Ireland or from Japan or elsewhere.
Well, they bought up our mares for years. And
I know.
These guys trying to go back.
Yes.
Now we have to, these guys are trying to bring back the breed, and it's fun to watch. And I wish them all the best. And
yeah, I think it's great.
We need, like you said, we need every one of them. Those bigger guys that are, putting and making racing, and it's times are tough at all levels, but horse racing needs them just for the sheer fact of keeping the game going forward. With whether they're, all those guys breed too, and breed a lot of horses. So every guy that's getting big in the game like that, or I train for, like Dean has a lot of horses, and I'm lucky I train some. Christoph has some, and Dean has 7 or 8 trainers. It's good that he has a lot of trainers because it keeps all of us working. And Randy Hill is probably, one of my bigger owners too. And he has couple different owners, 3 or 4, and George and me. And those guys support us and keep us in the game. And they're the foundation. I only have 40 horses. Some guys have a lot more, but you need that foundation, guys, so that you can keep your business running and keep your employees and keep going forward. And horse racing needs every big person, and they need every small person. But it's fun to see a newer guy get involved because, we lost a Sheik that passed away, and John Stewart might replace that guy in here and in England and everywhere. I mean, it's looking that way, and he bought part of the farm. So, horse racing needs every guy that goes that cell and raises their hand and gets involved and claims a horse or does everything they can to keep people in the game. Because the game's gotten tough with a lot of different rules and a lot of things that they're changing.
The insurance that you have to provide for your workers.
Yeah, the payroll in New York is very difficult.
Yeah.
Kentucky's a lot easier, but New York. But, we have something that they don't have at a lot of other tracks. We have this track at Saratoga to train on. We have the 2 tracks up here, and no one has that but us. And we have the best track man in the country, Glenn. And no matter what anybody says, unhappy about tracks up here, our tracks are safe every day to train on, and they're beautiful surfaces, turf and dirt, and we're just blessed every day to have the crews they have that go out there. I'd say Juan Dominguez and Glenn are 2 of the most important people in New York racing, and you just have to look up and be thankful every day you can stand out there and watch your horses train, because I can tell you the tracks at Saratoga right now are as good as anywhere you can train a horse, and I give that a lot of credit to my young horses because they stay sound because I'm training here. Costs a little bit more money, costs the owners a little bit more money, but our product's lasting, and we're staying in the game.
Well, let's talk about Saratoga a little bit more. Actually, I don't want anybody to think I'm ignoring you. By the way, everybody, we are currently live right now. So if you have a question, comment, feel free, jump in. You are welcome to join this conversation. Silver Charm, if you're late to the show, that's okay. Is there a 2-year-old Danny is high on? We went over some 2-year-olds. We talked about Complexion, who won on debut. Johnny Velasquez told Danny before he went out to the gate, see you in the winner's circle. And he did. So, but if you want to reiterate.
I'd say right now, I'd say at Saratoga, they could win. I mean, I think Saratoga Warrior could win at Saratoga, probably Dragoneer and Snow White.
Okay, there you go. Hey ho, that's what I'm trying to do. Talking about getting involved, being a bloodstock agent, want to get into the pedigrees. I love the pedigrees. It's to me like reading a tapestry. You can see how a horse fits together, every thread. When you look at that page, you want to see that page in the flesh, hopefully. But if you have any advice, because I believe right here, any words of wisdom for someone who wants to get involved in the industry without any prior experience?
I would probably try to work the sales, start at the lower levels and work through the sales, and start learning, study the pedigrees, and learn confirmation by being at the sales all the time. You know, to reach out to one of the bigger sales company, Tailor Made, those guys, and several other guys, and go that route.
You know, one of the questions I've asked in the past to trainers when I've had them on the show, and we've been discussing the sales and confirmation, we get to the question of what can you forgive and what can you not forgive? And a lot of people say they can't forgive a horse back of the knee or something along those lines. What about you, Danny? What can you forgive and what can you not forgive from a confirmation standpoint?
I'll forgive them if they're back at the knee.
Okay.
Yeah, that's if they're a little bit flat in the knee, a little back, that's when I forgive that.
Okay.
So
And
yeah, that's something that doesn't really. I don't like it when there's other things I don't like, but that's not one of them.
what is something you don't like?
Uh, I hate when they're offset from the knee. Their
Mm.
cannon bones offset from the knee to the ankle. I just can't forgive that because then when the bones don't come down straight, that's when you start having the problems because they hit at a different angle. But a little
Yeah.
bit back of the knee doesn't bother me.
Okay. See,
Yeah,
everybody's different. Everybody's different.
yeah, DORNOCH's a little back at the knee.
Is he? All
Yeah,
right.
just a little bit. Yeah, he's a little flat in the knee. So's Gamine.
Oh, Gamine was so talented.
Yeah, I can name about 20 grade one winners that were a little
Well,
flat in the
we can,
knee.
you can name. There are so many things that people consider to be conformational defects that you can go through historically and find a horse who
You
had
know,
that. And they
In
were
England, they believe the horses that are a little flat in the knee, they call it flat in the knee, not back at the knee, just a
mm,
little bit. They believe they're faster.
really okay. I mean, you hear so many different things. Like you hear people say, "Oh, it puts more strain on the leg.
Yeah.
You might be more predisposed to a tendon or to a, what? Oh, wait a second. We have right here. Silver Charm says, I heard D Wayne say he looks for a long neck. I like a long neck. I do. So long as it's balanced. It has to be balanced. So
Yeah,
it's
it's got to
pulling
be
the horse forward.
balanced. I mean,
I
I'm
like a
not going to argue
sloping
with Wayne.
shoulder. Yeah,
If D-Wayne likes it, I'm going to be okay with it. There's no one's done better than him.
I like this. I heard the perfect ones don't run. That's true. You could have a horse that is the perfect physical specimen, but they can't run a lick.
It happens all the time. And the prettiest ones.
I know. I know. I forget they're.
Yeah, the prettiest, but it happens. I mean, you can't, that's when the pedigree has to come in.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. And we're looking hopefully for a horse that has consistency. And the reason why I love pedigree so much is because I do believe that it tells you the story. And I put more weight on a horse based upon its female family than anything else personally. I know a lot of people for many years, I think it's slightly gone to the wayside now, but a lot of people for a very long time would rely on dosage index and different things of that
Yeah,
nature.
you don't
And
hear much about the dosage index
no,
anymore. That's kind of gone to the wayside. But there's
yeah,
everything, and things change and evolve, and there's other things. But the one thing that's never going to go away is the pedigree. I mean,
yeah,
and that's going to be the standard, and you know, and then the physical.
hmm
You have to try to find a physical and talented, and everybody likes a beautiful horse. So we're all going to look at them too. And if they're pretty, and they have all those things, then we can't afford them. Usually Bob gets them.
well, let's talk about a beautiful horse named Dornoch. And this boy of yours, he went through Keeneland September back in 2022, sold for $325,000, as we've been discussing, Son of Good Magic, and Out of Puka by Big Brown. Oh, I loved Big Brown, by the way. Can I just tell you real quick, like as
Yeah.
an aside, I was convinced Big Brown was going to be the one to win the Triple Crown. Just
Oh,
convinced. And I do you remember the morning of, I think Casino Drive had scratch. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's done. He's gonna. And then the shoe. I don't know if that was the excuse or what, but
yeah. Feet. He had
yeah,
problems. So talented
but
horse though. He had I
very
mean,
talented.
that Triple Crown's a tough run. You're running. I mean, I was blessed. I didn't have to run back in the Preakness. I mean,
Um,
it's tough to run a horse in a Derby and then turn around and run 2 weeks later, and then turn around and run 3 weeks later. I mean, that's a heavy toll on a horse, and it's demanding, and it can weigh on them. So, we ran in Derby and didn't really get to run much because of the one hole. And we
Yeah.
feel like that cost us any chance at all, which it did. He got checked immediately. Uh, Spoke of Brian Hernandez earlier. I think Brian rode one of the best, those
That
Cajun
was
guys.
incredible.
I mean, it was a Calvin Morrell type ride. And
Yeah.
you look back at some of those guys that deserve all the credit. And, I'm happy for Kenny he won it. And I'm happy for Brian. But what a good ride. Oh, there's a lot of talented riders there in Kentucky. I won the Matt win with Corey Landry the day after the Belmont. And that's probably one of the best rides I've had in my training career. Yeah, if you brought up that video, I mean, if you
Oh,
watch the
I
head,
don't have it, but I could pull
no,
it.
but Churchill does some of these great pan shots where you can
Yes.
see the overview, and you can
Yes.
see how tight he went through a hole on the inside rail. You're like, whoa, I wouldn't have went through there,
Well,
but he
same
just,
thing. What was your talk? Yeah.
yeah, those guys, they stay on that rail at Churchill and skim around there, and it's they ride that track special. Some of those guys, and
Nerves of steel.
oh my goodness! But like I was talking to Al Stahl the other day, when it works out, it works out. But when it gets checked, it's all bad.
Oh my goodness, that's an
But it
understatement.
worked out for me the other day. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, the track.
Well,
But the one hole got us, and then for him to
oh,
come back and I've always been high on him. I think I told everybody he was the best horse I ever trained 2 months before he ever ran. And
I did not know you said you did, huh?
yeah,
Oh,
2
well,
months
hold
before.
on then. Before we get more into talking about what you knew before he even debuted, I have this clip because we actually had Jason Worth on a show that I co-host along with some friends of mine from AVR and talking about Rachel Miller and Alexa Zepp. It was we call it Keeping Up with Keeneland, but it was officially the Keeneland Weekend Kickoff. And we had Jason Worth on the first episode, and this was ahead of the Bluegrass Stakes. But here's a little sort of montage I put together of what he had to say regarding you and Dornoch.
At the bar here, and I went to the right side of the bar, not the left, and run into Danny Gargan and his crew, and like bought the right guy a drink, and we started talking. Next thing I know, Danny's like, "Hey, we got this great horse," and at that time, like he's talking about good magic and all these things that I have no idea what he's talking about. He's like, "You want 10%?" And the funny part is, he offered my partner Rich Averill. He offered him the same deal.
Oh my gosh!
And Rich was like, Rich does fillies.
Oh,
So Rich is like,
he's
no
given
way.
up on the Derby dream. No,
Right.
Colts,
So I was
fine.
like, just almost to spite Rich, I was like, I'm in. Like,
Oh, wow.
we're sitting. Don't tell anybody. We're sitting in the Winter Circle Suites, the last suite, and I own parts of Dornoch, and we're all over Mage because Forte snapped Mage at in the Florida Derby,
Right.
Yep.
and we're like, you know what? We were like, we had Mage and like in all the exotics, everything, fix 5, fix 6, whatever. So when Mage won it, we acted actually probably more ridiculous than the people that won the Derby. Like people were congratulating us because like people around us were like, "Oh my God, they won the Derby," because of how like ridiculous we acted or whatever. And it was like we won the Derby, but it really was like, "Oh my God, like what are the chances that we that we got Dornoch, Mage's full brother?"
You kind of did win. Like
I was like,
there you go. So tell us about that. Go back to the sale for me, and
It's basically what he said. I'd met him with Averill before, and he just walked up to me and he said, "You do anything today?" And I said, "I think I just bought the best horse I bought the wholesale. I thought he'd be more money." He said, "Who owns him?" I said, "Well," I said, "I've got 33% of him sold." I said, "I own the rest, right?" And when we bought him, I said, "I got 67% of him." I said, he says, "What do you think he's going to be?" I said, "Well, I mean, if it works out, he could be a Derby type horse. I really think this is a special horse." He said, "Really?" And then he says, "Well, I think I'll take part of him." And you say that when you're drinking. And then a couple of days later, he called me up. He says, "I'm serious. I want 10% of that horse." I said, "Well, that'd be great. It'd be fun. If it works out, it'd be fun to have you, because he does some unbelievable great interviews. I mean,
so good.
After the Belmont, when he stood up there and said, "This is like winning the world, the best." I mean, those interviews, I've had probably 1,000 text messages from people that matter that say, that was something wonderful that horse racing needs. And other athletes have reached out and stuff. And, it's, he's a super fan of horses, not just racing. Like he likes to come to the barn and feed them peppermints. And it's kind of funny. He just pops in and out. He's got his own jet. So he's down in Florida one day, and I didn't even know he was coming. He says, "Where you at?" And I says, "Well, I'm going fishing." He says, "Well, I'm gonna swing by the barn." I said, "Okay." I said, "You know what?" I said, "You know what he looks like." So it was about an hour later. He said, "What's the story with this Thanos?" And I was like, "Okay." I said, "No." I said, I texted him back. "Why?" He says, "Boy, I'd like to have a piece of him." I said, "You can have all of him, but he can never leave the barn." He says, "Well, why can't? What do you mean I can have all of him, but he can't leave the barn?" I said, "Well, he's the barn pony, but you can own him." But he's a beautiful horse with a big old fat face, and he just he goes and feeds them all peppermints and hangs out, and he loves the horses, and his family is, they're all such loving, and it's so, he's thankful.
Yeah.
The next day after, me and him and a couple guys just went and shake fun on. We went down to a couple of places in downtown Saratoga and just hung out, and he's just, he's so happy, because he lost something when he told me when he stopped playing baseball, that the adrenaline rush, and he said this really gives it back to him, and he really wants to be a good ambassador for the
Oh,
sport.
he
And
is.
he wants to do right, nice things. Actually, I'd love for him to meet John Stewart, because he wants to do great things also, and just wants to put a nice shine on horse racing. And yeah, it's he's fun. He's fun to be around. He's learning. He's first coach ever by wins the Belmont. I mean, that's pretty lucky, right?
Yeah. Well, I was
But
struck by, well, like you were saying, I was struck by just how genuinely excited he was about everything to do with the
oh,
horses.
he's coming up here and staying a whole month at Saratoga.
I heard him say something after the Belmont that he is going to make a point to be there as much as possible.
Oh no, he loves. Like I said, he'll be in the golf cart riding around the backside every day. He loves it. I mean, it's like spring training for him. He's here. He loves hanging out, and he loves being around. And yeah, he's I mean, but baseball takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm not a pro athlete, but it's you
You
know,
are
no,
taking care of these
no,
horses. That takes some
I'm more like a coach,
athleticism.
but we work a lot, and same thing when you're in baseball, you work every day. He train it, work out, train every day, so he gets it. He gets the manpower and the hours that go into it. He understands that part, and a lot of people don't understand how hard all the people work. From your assistant trainer to your exercise riders, and my assistant rides, and the foreman, the groom, people don't. It's countless hours of being out there working and putting in the time, and just so it's a rewarding thing for your barn that works this hard. And a lot of these guys, like the groom of Dornoch, I think he's been with me almost 10 years. And for someone to been here that long and be rewarded with this, it's it's fun to watch them enjoy it as much as it is me. And it's fun to watch all, Priscilla doing interviews, and Carol, and everybody doing interviews, and getting, some recognition that they deserve from working countless hours. And, Carol's been with me pretty much since I started, and Priscilla's coming up on her 5th year. And it's enjoyment just to watch all of them enjoy this so much.
Taking it back, you said that you told him, I may bought best horse of the sale. What was it about Dornoch that attracted you? Because this is before Mage had won the Kentucky Derby, so that wasn't there on that catalog page yet.
But
So what was it about?
We saw Mage Breeze in
Okay.
Maryland. And kind of, you go over that, we looked at him several times and thought about buying him, and should have bought him. Obviously, could have afforded him. He didn't sell for anything crazy. I could have bought him. And there was regret that I didn't buy him. And when I saw Dornoch, I liked Mage at the sale. Then you get to see this one, the full
Yeah.
brother, and you're like, whoa, that other one could work like this. What's this one gonna do? That's when I was like, oh. So yeah, and I had some partners that I thought were going to buy in on him when we went up to buy him, and about an hour before, a lot of people, things get bought, other people buy with other people, and I was just fortunate enough that was, had someone give me the money to where I could afford to buy him and then sell him out.
And when you got him to the barn, take that sales sticker off his haunches.
Well, he actually went to Raoul first.
So he went to King's Equine first.
And I didn't see him for a while.
Okay.
And then Megan Jones went to Ocala, and she called me and she says, "This horse is really nice." And I said, "Who?" And she'd went over and saw him, and she said, "Danny, she said, he is unbelievable."
Oh.
And I went the next time she went to Ocala, and he had his little ups and downs when he was a baby.
But you said he's 17 hands.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
So it takes.
Yeah, but we ran him up. He was pretty athletic for a big horse. We ran him sprinting once, and knowing he was just going to need. He ran good too. He was second, got stuck down on the inside, and Caesar Gray beat him that day sprinting, and we just wanted to get him started. Then I took him over to Monmouth, and I fully believed he was going to win the race at Monmouth
For the sapling.
Oh, I thought he'd win the sapling easy, and he broke bad, and then the horse inside him bolted. And he's 25 wide in the first turn, and he goes from last to first down the backside, basically. And then he got in front, and Kendrick said everybody thought I was bullshitting. Kendrick said he didn't see the other horse coming. He said if he'd have saw the other horse coming, he'd have won. And obviously we know now.
Yeah.
When a horse runs up to him, he starts running again.
Yes, he will fight.
He got passed in Remsen. He was passed in the Belmont. So he likes it when they come to him because then he gets back running.
Well, this is the thing, and I'll completely admit, looking at the Remsen, we were all talking about the bias that day at Belmont, or at Aqueduct rather.
Right.
But
five horses went after him that day.
Yes. And not only that, though, and the thing that should have gotten, I guess, more attention ultimately wasn't about the bias on the rail that day, because, okay, fine, even if that existed, he bounced hard off that rail.
Yeah, he hit the rail. He had a horse.
And
he
was on.
And that's why we have to keep blinkers on him, because he gets around, we took him off for some works, and Louis said, "No, put him back on." Because he'll look around a lot. And he hit the rail. Louis swears up and down if he didn't hit the rail, no one was getting close to him that day. He said, "I was going to win by 2 or 3." And he's been, in Louis' defense, Louis has never lost any faith in him. He's always said, he got off of him Derby Day and said, "We're going to win the Belmont." He said, "If you wait and run him in the Belmont, we're winning the Belmont." Told me straight. He told me I was going to win the Derby after his first race. He has loved this horse from day one. And, we've had a couple hiccups that were probably my fault in the bluegrass. Shouldn't have rated him, but we were wanting to teach him. And, I thought we'd take him to Monmouth, he'd win. And then I was going to take him to Kingland and run him in the stake there. And, but it just didn't work out that way. And, he had a rough trip, and then we took him and broke his maiden. And there was, people wanted to go everybody wants to run the Breeders' Cup. And I just said, let's just take our time with him. I want to win a classic race, and I think we did the right thing, waiting, and won the Remsen. Gave him a lot of time after that. Didn't run him till the Fountain of Youth, and I told everybody we're going to run Fountain of Youth Bluegrass, and we did. And we took our time with him, and it paid off, and we did get one of the classic races, and that's what we were shooting for. And that's, when you have you get one chance at this. And, it's like Jason told me the other day, I don't know, I'm not a baseball guy. He said, it was the bottom of the ninth and the bases were loaded and we were down by 3. He said, you pointed out in the field and it went. He said, he says, you sent it over. He said, he picked me up.
He picked you up?
Oh yeah, he's strong.
He is so tall too.
Oh, he is so strong too. Oh, he can lift 200 pounds like it's nothing. I'm only 190, but yeah, 85.
Please tell me somebody got a photo or a video of
Did you see the one? He's got Louis size up like a baby.
No, I haven't.
He's got him
seen
4
that
feet
one.
off the ground. He's got him like this.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Oh yeah.
He could piggyback him around the track.
He grabbed him and he's got him like this. I'm like, his little feet are
like
dangling.
Simba?
There's a picture of it. Yeah, there's a good picture of him picking up Louis.
gosh, it's like the Lion
yeah,
King. It's like the Lion King.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's great for the sport, and it's we need like I said, the big focus is we need everybody to be positive and be put a positive spin
Yeah.
and just try to have fun with this. And and it's fun to see. Last year was a good story with Jenna. Jenna won
Yes.
and hopefully it's a good story for me. It's fun, that Kenny won the Preakness and or the Derby. And it's good to see some of the other guys, and I love seeing Wayne win the Preakness again, even though
Oh
he's
my
won all
gosh,
these. But
yes.
this at his age, I worked for Wayne as a kid for a couple years with Mark
The
Henning
attention to
and
detail.
Jeff, and yeah, and
Oh.
it's it's good to see it spread out a little bit, and hopefully horse racing we see more things get spread out and more fun, and we have these stories that are entertaining for everybody to watch.
Well, tell me the story of, as we start to wind things down here, because I already kept you over an hour. How
I know.
entertaining. And thank you for your time. When we had to move the Belmont due to the construction going on at Belmont Park itself to Saratoga, the distance now going from 1.5 miles to the 1.25 miles or so, you're basically back at the Kentucky Derby distance. What were your thoughts? I mean, basically, it's the Travers, but
Yeah, I mean, well, I live in Saratoga
yeah. So it's
half the
your
year.
backyard. Yeah.
It's where I train. It's home base. I mean, if you're going to win the Belmont, I want to win it at Saratoga every year because
Yeah.
I mean that crowd was it wasn't it wasn't it was like a Triple Crown year. It was packed and that
It
grandstand
looked
was
like it. Yeah.
shaking, and I've never. I mean, people were screaming and yelling, and it was. Believe me, winning it. It means to me. It meant a lot more because I'm there every day, and it's where most of my owners have houses there. They're all there, and yeah. I mean, hopefully one day they figure it out and decide that they run it every year up there because we're going to eventually have to spread. I think these races out to where they're not back in 2 weeks, back in 3 weeks, and then we'll have to see where it goes. But the distance, it is what it is. It's the distance we had to run that day on that race, and I don't know if anybody passed me if we go any further.
Well, a
On the
question for
gallop
you.
out, it doesn't really look like it.
And I'm gonna have you talk us through that replay in just a minute. But before we get to that, what about the lead up that week to Belmont Day? Was it with everybody in town, Saratoga being a small town? How crazy was that? Were there a lot of people in the barns more than usual? So how did it either, upset the schedule, or
Saratoga,
were
they're
you
all
able to keep
there.
things chill?
Saratoga, they're all there. They're there all. I mean, once the meet at Saratoga, people are around. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm lucky we block. My barn stays kind of closed off. It's we have seats out there and stuff for everybody to hang out. But he's kind of a ham. He likes people.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll stand there. If you open a candy wrapper, he wants you to come to him. Yeah, so he's not like he's not one of them that gets like we're in a paddock a long time for that race, and
Mhm.
I'll tell you one thing: all the horses acted well, which I was like, boy, this could be bad for some people. But he's just like Derby and stuff. He doesn't mind the crowd. He doesn't mind people. He's not scared of things. He actually likes it. So no, the walkover for the Derby was no big deal for him. I didn't even school him for the Belmont because it's just kind of
Yeah.
it gets him more aggravated when you come home because you have to trank him because he's like mad you didn't get to run. So yeah, we didn't even take him over and school him because we didn't expect him to even. Yeah, he just walks over like it's no big deal. He's
Well,
strong. We can't take a lip shank off of him until he gets to the track. But yeah, yeah, I didn't really. I never thought the crowd, him, like some horses, you have to worry about it. They get washy, nervous. He likes the crowd. He likes the people.
well, he sure likes the track. Let's go ahead and, although he's a horse that's run well on every track he's been on, but it
But
is
the
nice,
one
like you
hoe,
said, to walk out of your stall and be able to go run.
yeah,
Um,
that's a big factor too.
so here it is, the Belmont at Saratoga.
But all of us that ran, Kenny's horse came up early. Todd's horse was there, and Chad trains up there. So we were all up there early.
What did you make of the beginning of this race? I mean, were you looking at Sierra Leone? Were you looking at this as a rematch?
No, I was just hoping we'd get up close and
Just run your
we
own
knew
race.
what
You're not even worried.
you know where Sierra Leone's going to be in the beginning of the
Yes.
race, so you don't have to worry about it. He's going to make that big, powerful run because he's obviously the horse to beat every time you run against him. He shows up every race.
What about can't get any respect? 17-1.
That's okay. We're fine with that.
I'm sure Jason didn't mind that one bit.
No, shoot, he bets. So yeah, it was a big day for him. So I thought right here going down the backside, I was sitting in the box with Randy, and when I seen him sitting there like this,
Yeah.
I kind of got out of my seat so I could watch the small screen TV in the box from the side. And I looked over at Randy. I said, Randy, he's going to run big today. He said, really? I said, yeah. I said, he's got a ton of horse right now. And at the half mile pole, I kind of got out of my seat and moved so I could start watching. And because I knew then right here, you can't really, you can tell with him because he takes a few pumps, to get him going. And he hadn't asked him and he's already going. I said, oh, he's got a lot of horse today. So, yeah, it's and then you're now I'm watching Todd's horse. Obviously, you start looking when you're up there and you're running smooth.
Yeah.
You're like, who can catch us? And Sierra Leone had Jock sat back there a long time on him, and I was like, well, he hasn't done nothing yet. He's going to be real wide. And right here, it looked like mine frame was going to go on by. If you see the side shot, he got in front of us.
But like you said, Dornoch likes that. Yeah.
Well, he switched leads.
Yeah.
And when he switches leads, he hit him left-handed. He took back off because he hadn't asked him to run yet. And then the other horse drifted. I think he drifted because he got tired. And that horse, Mind Frame's a super nice horse.
Yeah,
and
was that
that's a big jump.
Of his career, or what was that?
That's his third start of his career, and he going from he hadn't been that far. Super talented horse. He's going to be super hard to beat in the Travers. And see galloping out here.
Yes.
No one. I mean, I don't know. Do they catch us if we go any further? No one catches us until the outrider. The outrider has to pull him up.
As they say, couldn't blow out a candle.
No, he walked back proud of himself, stood up there, and he come out of this race tremendously well. I thought maybe we'd run here and wouldn't run again to the Travers, and now we're seeing how things go, and he come out of it really nice. And we've got the Haskell and the Jim Dandy. I've won the Jim Dandy before. The Haskell's a big race. It's a grade 1, and we're going to figure out which one of those we want to run in, and be fun to watch him run in his next race. The short stretch at Monmouth would suit him. And I'd have to think, see where everybody else is pointing, where everybody else is running. But
I kind of love the idea of you all, Jason,
we're all going to be in the
Jersey Shore.
Yeah, I don't know who will show up. Or Bob Baffert said he's running in Monmouth, so.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So if Muth shows
up that was
there.
a big splash with Muth. So I actually have, because it's so funny, everybody. I asked Danny for a picture so I could do like the little promo for the show, and he's like, I don't have any. So I got a hold of my friend Janet Garagusa, who takes amazing photographs, and these are some of the other photos that she provided to me.
No, we don't need to see photos of me.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Did she take that one?
Yes, she did.
Oh, that's a good photo.
Well, she's got that as Janet Napolitano here. 2024. She and Dom are two of my friends. I love to see every
they're
time I
nice
go up
people.
Oh, so wonderful. I love Dornoch's eye. It's so reminiscent. I know APND's not there in the pedigree, but it's so reminiscent of APND.
And he's a rig like APND.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So, so big horse, big pretty horse.
He's got a
beautiful shoulder.
Danzig sort of like.
Yeah, that Danzig nose and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's got that. Yeah, big. His neck's like APND's. His neck and shoulder. That's that long, beautiful shoulder and neck. So, like I said, we're just lucky and blessed we have him. And
so when will you have a feel for what you actually want to do, to like go from the pencil to the pen?
I mean, we're training like we're running the Haskell. If we make the Haskell, we make the Haskell. Jim Dandy's the next week.
But Travers is the.
Oh, the Travers is the go.
You want that canoe.
Yeah. They had a Belmont canoe out there and they didn't paint it. I'd like to inquire with Naira about
Yes.
it. We can get that painted. I'd like to have a canoe painted. It should be. We should have a Belmont Saratoga
I think you
canoe.
should have a Belmont canoe.
It'd
I
be
agree.
funny.
Everybody, let's lobby for a Belmont canoe. Can we do it?
They had one out there that had the Belmont stakes on it, but I don't know if they painted it.
Well, it absolutely should be
They
painted.
should have one. Can you recall? Let's call them up and check on that.
When we had Jason on the ABR show, I said to him, how did you celebrate winning the World Series, and how will you celebrate winning the Kentucky Derby? And he got all like, oh no, because superstitious.
He's superstitious. Yeah. He called me the other day and he's like, he's getting some suits made, a couple of suits made. And he said, well, are there any colors we shouldn't wear? And I said, well, I'm wearing the exact same outfit I wore when he won the Belmont. He said, you are? Oh, I said exactly the same thing.
Same underwear?
Yeah. I've been wearing this hat for a reason. It's lucky. Yeah, I'm not changing. Wearing the same thing.
Hey.
There'll be no change in my game. Everybody's
yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun. Just, look, if he wins the Travers, that'd be crazy.
Yes.
We're just, like I said, we're blessed that we're going to be a part of it. And, hopefully he runs big if we run in the Haskell, he runs big there. But like I said, Todd will run somebody in the Haskell, either Fierceness or Mind Frame. And I'm looking for, Baffert said he's coming with Muth. And then DORNOCH. So, it's a grade $1 million race. We'll see who runs.
Well, can you tell me how you celebrated the Belmont victory? Or is this something that shall never be spoken of again?
By the time I didn't do anything bad.
Okay.
No, because I knew those cameras would be there at 5:30 the next day. I was tired. It's a long week.
Yes, that is a long week.
By the time we got back to the barn and settled in, we had a cooler over there when I got back over there, and it was like 9:30. And I had 2 drinks there sitting in the, I have all these chairs with the owner's silks painted on them. If you ever come to Saratoga, it's a great little thing. We were all sitting in the chairs having a drink. And we went to Ciro's, and I had 2 drinks at Ciro's. And that was it. I was home in bed by 11:30.
Oh, my
goodness. And now, the next day we won the Matt Win.
Yeah.
I was late coming in Monday. Yeah. There was a group of us. Yeah, there was a group of us that went. No, it was a good Magic there. Society Man's a good Magic. Yeah. So we won the Matt Win, and then there's a group of us went into town and had a little fun. And I think I showed up at 7. But I
was probably still sleeping.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, to win those 2 stakes back to back, and then all of them have been in the next. And 5 days later, that filly runs big. So yeah. So it's to have these 3 horses in your barn is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I am sure it is. And regarding going back to real quickly, the superstitious stuff in horse, I told Jason also during that interview, I said, I think I might be one of the only people, I can't think I'm the only, but it's a very small percentage of us that are not superstitious at all. No, I'm not even a little superstitious, because I don't know. I feel like I can't affect what other people have done or the hard work they put in. If I stand at the different monitor, or if I go to a different teller, or if I can't affect the work that you put in. And gosh.
No, the great thing is, like I said, the big thing of all is we just need everybody to be supportive of horse racing, especially Naira. They need to get on board with some of their people to be supportive of New York racing. They have the great facilities. We just need some people to get supportive, because Kentucky's, getting harder and harder not to be at. And we just need a few more things to change. Well, I'm from there. So it's getting harder and harder not to be in Kentucky with a presence. But, but training here at Saratoga is something I love doing. And we just got to find a way to be able to keep doing it.
We have another question for you. Where's Society Man headed?
Either the Indiana Derby or the West Virginia Derby.
Okay. Wow. Just look at it's all the Derby. action going on? The whole trail. What has this year been like for
My
you as
ultimate
a
goal
whole?
with him is to run him in the Saudi Cup.
Oh,
I
exciting! Well,
think he's a horse that'll like that. Yeah, and he travels so well.
and you said you're friends with Sheikh Fahad,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Mm.
it's the culture. Well, have you been there before? Have you been
No.
over?
Mm-mm.
I'm actually half Iraqi.
Oh, are you?
Yes. So I obviously I have a tie to the Middle Eastern culture, and so when I saw them bring, the Saudi Cup, or introduce it, and I was already a huge fan of the Dubai World Cup.
I want to run him. That's my goal, is to get him to there. And
Dubai World Cup.
no,
Oh, Saudi, and then
Saudi. Yeah, I think he'd be a cool horse to get to that. And I think he'd love that track because he's a grinder, and
yeah,
grinders run big on it. And I think that's my ultimate goal, is to, I mean, he's a gelding, so he's going to be around a long time. And he would be so cool to have a horse that could run a couple years in those races.
of course.
I mean, the earning ability is amazing, you know. And Dubai,
Oh,
obviously, if you run good, Dubai is always something you'd want to be. But
yeah.
that's he's a gelding. We're gonna, obviously have him for several years, and yeah, that's the go, to have him try to get to the Saudi Cup, those kind of races. And if he could win one of them, it'd be amazing. But if you run third, fourth, or fifth in those races,
The
it's like
purses.
it's game changers, game
Yes.
changers.
Yes. Well, I mean, this year's already been so action packed for you, and you've already enjoyed such success. And you're already talking about some of the goals we're looking forward to in the second half, the Haskell, Travers,
Mhm.
and then some of these 2-year-olds that we're looking forward to debuting. But as you do look forward toward the end of the year, how do you have Breeders' Cup on your radar?
I don't plan that far in advance. I mean, I'm hoping we have 2 or 3 starters this year. Obviously, Dornoch, you'd love to see him in the, if he keeps doing well and keeps,
Mhm.
he'd love the track in California. Uh, hopefully a couple of these 2-year-olds show up. And you never know with Society Man. He's one of those horses that keeps trying. And you'd have to, go from there. And but I saw something last year I thought was interesting. I thought it's something to springboard to the Saudi Cup, is the Pegasus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to have a super fit horse for the Saudi Cup.
Yeah.
And the winner ran well in the Pegasus and then went over there and won. And I
Mhm.
think you can use that race as a springboard to win in the, run. I don't know about if we'll have a horse good enough to win it, but I think you could have a fit enough horse to run competitive in it, because that's a demanding track. And I think if you can have a horse that could run well in the Pegasus, you could springboard over there and run well again. So that's an angle I'm looking at this winter, if I have that caliber of a horse.
I love the broadening of the horizons. You really do. And it's really exciting to just see the progression, and not only with Dornoch, but just taking it back to talking about yourself, the fact that you did grow up there on the backside, that you have worn so many different hats within the industry, but yet the actual trainer's license is still pretty shiny. And
Yeah.
yet you've already had all the success, but it's been a progression. And it sounds to me like you work it out as you're going along. And I think that's part of the reason there's such success, because you're willing to be spontaneous when necessary. You're not necessarily hardcore locked into one thing or another. You're taking it as it comes, and you're able to adapt.
Well, you have to, with the rules changing today in this game. You can't sit and just be stuck on one thing. And so you just have to, and the key to this thing is, and hopefully it works out for me, is not overtraining a horse.
Mhm.
And longevity is our goal. And, and hopefully the owners keep backing us and keep giving us the opportunities. And like I said earlier, without the owners, we don't get to play. You can't participate without the owners, because the owners put up the money, and the owners buy the horses, and the owners send you the horses, and the owners believe in you and trust you. And without those guys, and I have some guys that really support me, like I said, Dean, Randy, Vito, Pine, Jason. There's a list that goes on, and I wish I could name every one of them. And without those guys, Megan Jones is a big supporter, or more. Uh, it's Carl and Urier stepped up major for me this year with Complexion, and they have Dragoneer and yeah, Gellhorn, I think. Yeah. So I mean, you have to have people that believe in you and give you the opportunity to get to this place. And without them, I'm not here. So, we just knock on wood and hopefully we keep getting that opportunity and keep getting the success we have. And hopefully we have more in the future and it can be more fun for everybody.
Well, this has been so fun for me, and I think I can speak for all the viewers that it's been fun for them as well. And I really have to say thank you profoundly for giving us over an hour and a half of your time.
Well, thanks so much.
I wish you continued success, Danny. This has been,
Thanks.
again, a blast getting to hear all about these 2-year-olds, to hear what's going on with DORNOCH, Society Man, and more. Everybody, our very special guest, Danny Gargan, here on the Future Stars Forecast on this 2-year-old Tuesday. Thank you for watching. I'll be back here next week with Carl Burke. Until then, check you later.